The South African Revenue Service is set to get tough on tax offenders by taking money they owed the taxman out of their bank accounts and attaching their salaries. Sars is under pressure, with the country looking at a massive budget deficit for the year, while excessive spending by the government is largely to blame for the yawning gap in the budget. Lower than expected tax collections are exacerbating the problem. Now, let's discuss this further. We're now joined by our teams by Lesego Serakoana, a tax practitioner. Lesego, thank you so much for your time. So, Sars turning its attention to tax representatives as it tries to clamp down on non-compliance and possible tax dodging by companies and other entities. Is holding representatives personally liable for a company's tax debt the way to go?
Hi, thank you for having me. I think it's a good idea because now it makes people to be more accountable for their companies. In that way, I mean that there's someone who's being appointed as a representative, and that way it will help with reducing the negligence of them disregarding their company. So if there was no tax representative for a company, then it means that companies will just be open and be operated and SARS without anyone being accounted. So I believe that having someone appointed as a representative really does help those people to be accountable for their companies and to be liable for the debt of the company.
So what can be investigated, by the tax authority during a tax compliance inspection, as an example?
In terms of an individual, they will usually investigate your IRP5s if you do have a valid IRP5, your medical aid certificate to make sure that you really did have a medical certificate as you declared in your return. They will also check your logbooks, and they should be in accordance with how SARS needs them to be. They should be compliant, and also they will probably check if you do have a retirement annuity as you would state in your return. And for businesses, if you are VAT registered, they will usually want to check if your invoices are properly done and they are compliant according to their rules, and you do have the necessary information that you declare you have in place.
I mean, when you talk about tax compliance to many people, it literally debilitates them, especially if they're running small businesses. Why should a tax compliance inspection be taken seriously by all?
If you don't take a tax inspection seriously, it is you're making an unlawful act. It is an act against the law, and you could be charged with further things. Previously, they used to arrest you, but now there are other forms that are in place that they do and follow up. You probably get your things being implicated and all of that. So it's an unlawful act against the law.
And just talking about, the collection, what are some of the collection measures SARS has at its disposal?
We have income taxes that is in relation to the money that you receive, your sales revenue, and for individuals, we have pay as you earn. That's a way that they collect taxes. We have dividends tax, we have donations tax, we also have value added tax and other types of taxes that they collect money through. So each person should always comply with the... Sorry?
No, continue. Each person should always comply?
So each person should always comply with the tax type that they are registered for. If you're registered for value-added tax, you should comply with it and submit your taxes and pay as a due. And if you're maybe registered for pay-as-you-earn, you should be paying your pay-as-you-earn or any liability that you have with SARS accordingly.
In the event that you can't pay the monies owed to SARS in a lump sum, as it were, what are some of the measures you can take then to negotiate with SARS?
You can do a payment arrangement where you make an arrangement of a specific amount that you'll be able to pay over to SARS on a monthly basis. And I do suggest that people, when they do the payment arrangement, they stick to the arrangement and make it a priority to pay SARS, because there are interest rates that are being implemented even on the liability that you have. Even though you make a payment arrangement, they still charge you interest. So it's best that you comply and stick to the arrangement that you have with SARS to make your life easier.